Hello, everybody, and welcome to an episode of 161st and River. Today, I'm going to be recapping the Toronto series where the Yankees somehow, some way, survived to take two of the three games against the Blue Jays at Yankee Stadium over the weekend. It was a big series. It was a meaningful series for the Yankees in so many ways. And some might even say, and I'll venture to say it was a statement series. The pendulum, especially yesterday, and we'll get into the whole weekend and feelings and all that stuff with the series, but the pendulum for the Yankees, especially yesterday, was from being 4 games back, but really 5, because Toronto owns the tiebreaker at this point, to now, since you won the series, being 2 games back, but really 3, or 2.5, I guess you could say. You just have to be a half game better than the Blue Jays to finish the season. Right? You can have the same number really a game, because I guess it can't really be a half game at the end of the season. Let's get into it. Friday night, I think, was everybody's worst nightmare because I think everybody wanted to get off to a great start. So I prefaced on Friday night on my socials that I wasn't covering the game like I normally would. My sister's birthday was Friday night, a big birthday, so we had a thing for her. Obviously, I knew what was going on in the game. And this game was really over in the first inning. As much as we could sit here and talk about Cam Schlittler, who did not look, he looked good for the first 2 batters. Then I don't know what it was, he lost it. I mean, MLB's not going to show the 2 strikeouts. They're just going to show Vladdy, who owned the Yankees, the series. And let me say this: the fact that the Yankees got the job done against two playoff teams, with both Yordan Alvarez and Vlad Guerrero Jr. like batting like 800 against the Yankees in those series, is insane. I mean, I think yesterday the Yankees won mainly because Bo Bichette was not in the lineup, and we'll get to that in a minute. But once again, Cam Schlittler couldn't put batters away. I don't know if he was tipping or not. But Toronto's not going to admit that. They're just going to let it lie. I'm so happy, at least in the regular season, we don't have to play Vladdy again. I mean, my God, he was pimping everything this series. I tweeted out early yesterday, it was apparent what team wanted to win and what team didn't want to win, and for some reason it went the other way. Anyway, Cam Schlittler did not look like himself. I mean, the pitch location wasn't bad, even on that one there. Walking Kirk, I guess he probably shouldn't do and load the bases with 2 outs, especially being ahead in that at bat. I was watching this part on game day, and the pitch location's not bad. They were just getting to everything, and because Judge didn't make that throw, that was the throw. Judge couldn't make the throw. They had him hit the cutoff man. And Aaron Boone had like the most arrogant quote I think I've ever heard in my life to The Athletic, Chris Kirschner, The Athletic, where it's like, I gotta pull it up. It was so freaking arrogant. I'm reading this. I'm getting in the door, and I'm checking socials for the first time in a couple of hours. I knew the Yankees lost. I knew they were losing. I have the thing on my phone that tells me. And I'm reading this. I'm like, is this a real quote right now? Like, it was just so arrogant. Like, there was a lot of arrogance. Here it is. Kirschner. In the first inning, on the Luke single, which we just watched, Judge got to the ball before Varsho even touched third base. Is he not able to make that throw? What happened? Fair question. He got to it and he scored. And thanks, Aaron. We watched. So is he not able to make that throw? He's in position to make the throw. So why didn't he? We're gonna handle it how we handle it. Okay. What? It's a simple question. Is he healthy enough to make that throw or not? If you say he's not healthy enough to make the throw, fine. We all know he's going through it. We all know. I think everybody in the world right now knows that Aaron Judge is on the field in right, where he made, probably a game-saving catch yesterday in right field, which Giancarlo doesn't make in right. right? So 3 games. Judge has already been plus and right. And plus, he made 2 great throws to second base yesterday. That if Volpe keeps the glove on those 2 batters that overslid the base or almost did, they're out. One of them overslid, and if Volpe keeps the throw on, he's out. But Volpe kept the lifted the glove, and he slid off and then tried to reapply it, and then they said no, and they were right. The ump was right. Alex McKay was right. But Judge made more throws and positives in the 2 games he played out there than like clear cut negatives. I could say that. I mean, look, from an optics standpoint, that's pretty bad. Right, from an optics standpoint with Judge, that's bad. It's a bad start. It's a bad start to him being back in the field and all that stuff. Then there was this the following day where they asked more about the throw from last night and goes, the last couple of weeks, if you've been paying attention. I'm like, wait, did he just say that? Like, if you were paying attention. Like, yeah, it's literally his job to pay attention, but okay, Boone. We worked on different creative cuts. Okay. All right, we could talk about creative cuts. Clearly, Cody Bellinger used some creative cuts on Saturday, so that's it with Friday. They scored 1 run. They had like 2 hits through the first 8 innings. Like, it was pathetic. Like, they had 1 hit through 6 innings. It was the Stanton home run in the second. Like, it was insane. The offense throughout the whole series was like not existent. They scored like just enough to win the series, which I guess, if we're going to talk about it this way, I'll say this. If when you're going into the playoffs, especially against teams like this, you're not going to have the world beater Yankees where they're just going to bludgeon you to death with bombs all over the yard and all this. No, they're going to strike out, but then they're going to have that one big at bat where someone's going to park a 3-run shot and their starters are going to do just enough, and the bullpen's going to have you on the edge of their seat, which one reliever did yesterday. They had to use 2, so decipher which of the 2 had you on the edge of your seat yesterday. I think I know the answer for everybody. That's what they're going to do. They're going to walk the tightrope, and they're going to try and win. And if relievers fail, they're going to lose. Now, they might get in a rare game where they bludgeon everybody to death. It happens, right? Starters don't always have their stuff. Normally it's against the Yankees that happens, but, I mean, normally it's not always against the Yankees when that happens. Normally everyone puts up against the Yankees because they want to beat them. So here we go. Top first inning. Luis Gil actually yesterday had the best outing of his season, and that's encouraging. He walked 4 batters. So the question keeps getting asked. Who are you going to start in a postseason start? This is actually a nice catch by Volpe. Not going to lie. And my answer to that, to who I'm going to start in a postseason series, depends on where we are. If we're starting a 3-game wild card set at Yankee Stadium against Boston, and it does get to game 3, I don't know if I'm choosing Schlittler or Gil. I believe Gil's next start is against the Red Sox on Friday night at Fenway. I believe. Because then it's freed on Saturday. I believe it's freed against, it might be Crochet, which should be an absolute marquee matchup. It might be freed against Bayo again, actually. And then Sunday it's Crochet against whoever. It might be Rodon or Warren. If I'm the Yankees, I'm going to do my best to use Rodon and not Warren. I don't know what their schedules looks like. I have one that I project in advance what I think they're going to do based on what they've been doing. But it's been right so far. Okay, I have versus the Red Sox at the Fenway Park. I have Heelfried and Rodon. Now Charlie Morton's not starting tomorrow. Um, the Detroit Tigers actually very finically release their series probables. It's Mize Flaherty and Schlittler, or Mize Flaherty and TBA, but we'll get into that. So look, Saturday the Yankees scored like off of errors. That error by Vladdy leads to Dominguez, and every time, let's be honest here, every single time Chris Bassett faces the Yankees, they have to find a way. Should be an issue next year to get Dominguez's bat in the lineup. He's 7 for 11 off him with a bomb. That was a great at bat by Wells to even get the ball in the air there, and then flicks the ball in the air. That should have been a double, and two runs scored. But you take the sac fly. I mean, look at that catch. I mean, it's a very nice catch. He saved two runs. I think that saved Lucas. And then Luis he walked a lot of guys. The walks to lead off the fourth inning led to the lone Blue Jays run. And that happens, I guess. But you can't walk guys. They kept walking Judge all series. He did have the single, and then still second there. They were unable to capitalize with 2 outs. Judge had 2 stolen bases this series. It seems like he's running a little bit more. And one of them was on Alejandro Kirk. Right? I know that was like a storyline that Kirk throws out runners. The Yankees kind of ran on them a little bit. I think Jazz had a stolen base or attempted one at one point. This was a big at bat for Jazz popping out there. Well, the Yankees really failed. If you want to look at something throughout the 2 wins that you'd like to see the Yankees improve upon, I'd say it's probably tacking on insurance runs because they just seem to not do that. That was a nice double play turned after the 2 walks that you guys aren't seeing because my screen kicked again because the Wi-Fi here is horrible. Oh wait, that was the botched double play on the double clutch. Sorry, no, double play. That was the botched double play on the double clutch by Jazz. The other one was the botched double play on the bad turn by Volpe, which we'll talk about his defense for Game 3. And then Heel kind of locked in. And he was able to give 6 innings of 1-run ball. That's a quality start. Like if your starters, if the majority of your starters and Schlittler, until he shows me a start like that again, if he does against Detroit, then I'll start to question whether that's the rule and not the exception. I'm choosing right now to believe that that is the exception and not the rule. I firmly believe that Schlittler just had an off day. But if your starters consistently are going to give you 6 or 7 innings in a start, and give you 6 or 7 innings, I mean, that was just what you're seeing now, the replay. That was lucky. That was damn lucky that Toronto, and they got it right as replay. They are so lucky. I mean, man, like, what are the odds of that? I was like, ugh. And then, like, that's how the next inning starts, is the other way. It's Bo Bichette. And then this is what saved the game on Tuesday. Well, Saturday, excuse me. Oh, I said Tuesday. With Bellinger throwing out the plate of Bo Bichette, in which Bichette injured himself right before the rain delay. That was an hour and 46 minutes. That was fun. And Bichette clearly injured his shin. Austin Wells was pumped the F up in the dugout. Bo Bichette couldn't walk. They somehow brought him out after the rain delay. And then he didn't play yesterday. So obviously, the best to Bichette. Hopefully he's okay. As much as your rivals, right? You don't want this division to be handed to you. If you're the Yankees, you want the best players to be playing and just not performing. And to win this division, you don't want it to be like, oh, well, Bichette got hurt. That's why the Blue Jays fell out. Well, no, you don't want that. You want Bichette to be in there tomorrow. Dominguez had some good at bats in this game, and Dominguez was taking ground balls at short. I know Volpe did have this double, but other than that, he was fucking lifeless this series because he's just mind-numbingly horrible at everything he does. Like even a blind squirrel is going to run into a nut every once in a while. That's what I've chalked his hits up to because they're horrible. Even Wells has had some great at bats over the past like few days, and he's been solid defensively. I mean, the error yesterday is inexcusable, and we'll see it in a second, I'm sure. He gave that one a ride to center. If the wind's blowing, that's gone, or at least a double off the wall. Luke Weaver, he allows the leadoff double the IKF that was cut off in the gap, or it's a triple, but nothing else. He gets 2 flyouts to left. Then the Yankees smartly go to Fernando Cruz to face George Springer. Because if you know, George Springer has very good numbers off of Luke Weaver. This was smart from Boone. And then once they got behind to the count to Springer, just walk him. Because you can get Addison Barger to do that, tap out, and you're done. Right? Then Boone kept Fernando. And I was worried that he wouldn't. This was smart from Boone. I have to say, Boone managed entirely really well. Now, that was the infield single that Vladdy like pimped, and is part of the reason I'm so sick and tired of watching him. They get Bo Bichette struck out on that splitter. That pitches, yes, Network calls him. Fly out, and then I believe then they go to David Bednar. They're like, all right, let's go, put him to bed for 5-out save. Gets the strikeout looking. Fernando Cruz is like the biggest hype man. And then David put it to Bednar, comes in, strikes IKF out on a pitch in the left-hand batter's box. That people are going, hold on. Alan Porter missed, and there's strike 3 to end the ball game. Alan Porter missed the pitch earlier in the at-bat, like the pitch earlier that was like fully in the zone that should have been called strike 3. But obviously it didn't cost the Yankees. That massive win on Sunday behind Luis Gil, and Luke Weaver pitched well. I didn't do a Houston recap because I was very busy with traveling and doing other stuff that I didn't have time on Friday morning to do the recap. And what I'll say about Luke Weaver's performance in Houston, Thursday's a little bit more defendable than Wednesday. Wednesday, he got knocked around a bit. Thursday, I posted this on socials. The home run he gave up to Jesus Sanchez was a home run in 2 of 30 ballparks. Houston and Philadelphia. I went then to StatCast to look. If that ball was hit at Yankee Stadium, it might have been like a foot on the track, not even at the wall. That's a flyout with like most people playing left field. Maybe not Dominguez. Maybe with Dominguez it's a double. Most other people, it's a flyout. Even with Dominguez, he might be able to track that one down. I mean, he's made some okay catches in the corner. And then he strikes out the next 2, so it's a 1-2-3 inning. But obviously he didn't strike out the net. He gave up the home run, then he struck out 2, then he allowed 2 hits. Because Boone stupidly let him face Jordan, which was dumb. That's on Boone. That was dumb. You go right to the next reliever. You don't let base Jordan, lefty, righty. And you know what? I know what the Yankees think with Luke Weaver splits. All right, calm down. All right, this was the guy who was closing games for you most of the year. All right, so this isn't going to be defend Luke Weaver session because I've certainly crushed him a lot this year because he has been prone to the home run ball more than he should be. But let's be real. Your circle of trust right now in that bullpen is very, very slim. It's David Bednar, right, because he can close. I think he's fine. I think as long as he's not pitching in the state of Florida, he's fine. Fernando Cruz is in the circle of trust as far as I'm concerned. He's great. He's been really good. And since coming off the injury list, he's been phenomenal. He's given up one run, and you can argue that run shouldn't have been scored. Luke Weaver's in my circle of trust because I think more times than not he's going to get the job done. And Tim Hill, if there's a lefty lane coming up. That's it. Mark Leiter, I don't trust him. Camilo Duvall's horrible. Devin Williams, I don't trust him. I don't care what he did yesterday. I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. I don't think he's good. And he hasn't been. You're going to tell me right now that you're going to throw him in a postseason series in a big spot? You're facing Boston at Yankee Stadium in the wild card because, let's be honest, unless they leave Fenway Park within 2.5 of Toronto, they're going to be a wild card team. Let's say, Boston Red Sox, Yankees, hang the 8th inning, 1-run lead. It's 4-3 Yanks. You going to Williams? Remember, let's say that's a day that, starter went 6. So Luke Weaver at the 7th. And Fernando's down or something like that. That's who you're going to. It's not who I'm going to. Hell, I'd stretch Weaver out to 2 innings at that point if he looked okay. If he had like a Luke Weaver inning where he throws 10 pitches, 6 of them were changeups, struck 2 batters out and got the other one to ground out or fly out or something, then yeah, I'm keeping him in. And if he blows it, I can at least stand with that. And if he gets a couple guys on base, and gets 2 outs, but there's a runner on second with 2 outs, then I can go to Bednar and have him get 5 or 4. Excuse me. You know what I mean? Bottom line is the way this bullpen is because of how Cashman set this bullpen up. This isn't a Boone problem. This is a Cashman problem, and this is a performance on the field problem. Starters have to go minimum 6. Have to. Will Warren's not going to do that because that's not what he does. I don't have faith in him. In fact, I think they should put him in the bullpen. At least you have Paul Blackburn back there tomorrow to cover up. Because I don't trust Warren. Then you have a Rodon game and he'll give you some length. He'll die trying. Then you have Schlittler again. Schlittler normally does give length. The other day, was he tipping? Was it because of Toronto? I wasn't really paying attention if he was or wasn't. I know that if the Yankees are tipping, we'll get to it in a second because I wrote about it yesterday. The whole fucking planet will hear about it because it's the Yankees. Let's get to yesterday. Max Fried looked really sharp in the first inning. The second and third innings did not look sharp, and in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th innings did. It was a weird outing. 7 innings, 3 runs. You take it. Because you left with a lead. With that being said, when you hand your ace a 3-0 lead leaving the first inning, that 3-0 lead needs to hold up. And it didn't. He had a great first inning. I mean, look, this McMahon catch was fantastic. This is why McMahon gets a pass on offense. Because McMahon's making game-saving catches and game-saving plays and game-saving throws over at third base. That's why he gets saved on offense. 3 strikeouts yesterday. Not good. That's not good from McMahon. And they really struggled to get Vladdy out. I mean, I know he's good. He's not that good. Let's be honest. Bottom of the first inning, Scherzer takes the mound. Walks Bellinger. Walks Judge. Bloop single by Bellinger. You know the old adage, it's a bloop and a blast. There's the bloop. And after a 10-pitch at bat and some controversy, here comes the blast. Ben Rice steps up to the plate. 10-pitch at bat. Looks like MLB is going to give the whole at bat to us. Sped up a little bit. Fantastic at bat. I want you to pay attention and see If we could see, it's so choppy because the Wi-Fi is so bad here. I don't know why the Wi-Fi is horrible here. If we could see Judge's arms. So that was a changeup he yanked with that face. Fastball. 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 Into the short porch, 3-0 Yankees. Off a Hall of Famer. Ben Rice has had some big hits and some big home runs this year. That's a big one. Now, it comes out later, and I'll pull it up. I'll pull up my article on it. That the Yankees had a tell. That the Yankees had the pitches from Scherzer. That they had the changeup. My very nice Blue Jays blame a loss on Bombers to pitch tipping. So from Gary Phillips of Newsday, posted this on his X. You could see this is before the Rice long foul ball. Let's watch it again. Here's Judge. Pay attention to Judge. He does the flutter arms. They've been doing this a lot this year. Bellinger confirmed it. Obviously, it just showed the 3-run homer. Then I did add a little bit about it. Wasn't the first time, and it probably won't be the last. The Yankees have been caught doing this season. Now, John Schneider had like a really pompous quote. If I can find it out, yeah, here. They were relaying pitches. They're good at it. Major League Baseball knows the Yankees are good when they have something. Maybe I'm the only one who's going to say it publicly, but we have to do a better job. Well, I'm glad John Schneider admitted that it was his team's problem, not the Yankees' problem. And Max Scherzer actually admitted that he's had problems with tipping his changeup, the pitch he was fucking tipping, his whole career, and thought he fixed it, and obviously didn't, and needs to do a better job. The part about Major League Baseball knows the Yankees are really only good, that's kind of the thing. When they have something on someone else, it's bogus. The Yankees have had the best starting ERA and hit the most home runs, the best starting ERA since August. Anyways, Yankees go on triumphantly. Max Fried locks in after that. They go to Devin Williams. I'm going to fast forward to about that. Max Fried's still on the mound. That's the game-saving catch I mentioned before from Judge. Yankees scored their other run, the go-ahead run on an RBI double. Here's the Devin Williams. Jazz. I don't want to say he whiffs the ball. Devin's pissed. Like, fucking come on, man. Like, and it's like, it's a field single. Like, it happens. Be better. Then they do their best to throw that runner out. They don't, but it doesn't matter. Devin Williams put his big boy pants on and actually got outs. He strikes Vladdy out, which is a big, big, big strikeout. There's the strikeout of Vladdy. I think that's probably the biggest out of the game because if you walk him, it's 2 on, no out. Then you get Kirk to ground out, deep third. He plays such a smooth third base, McMahon does. He really does. I don't want to use the Boone adage of like Gio slipping in the bathroom, whatever it was. He's smooth. Walking Clement, probably I don't know if I would have walked him there. Set up an even bigger at bat, but once again, it sets up Ty France, who was 0-for-3. Clement had a double. Maybe that's the game plan. They got out of the inning. Devin doesn't really care. I did my best to blow it, just didn't do it today. Bond me. They walk Judge to lead off the inning. Judge does not steal. It's not the inning he stole. Then the Yankees ground out softly 3 times against Jeff Hoffman, whose ERA has been 13 this month, which is pathetic. The Yankees did not score 1 run off the Toronto bullpen that has been dormant for a month. So there's that. And then David put it to Bednar came in for the bottom of the 9th inning, looking to nail down a save as his Pittsburgh Steelers had just emerged triumphant over the Jets at JetLife. Miles Straw, 1-out single. Strike They were trying to do a hit and run. Austin Wells throws out the runner, catches him stealing, stares him down. Didn't know what the call was. Boone said post game they were trying to execute a hit and run, just didn't do it. And led to 2 outs, no one on, instead of a runner in scoring position and 1 man out, because then you flick a single. Even though you're going to get Barger. I believe that's Barger. Even though you're going to get him. Oh, Straw, excuse me. Even though you're getting Straw. George Springer's looming on deck. So you get Straw to ground out and the game and the series. You get out against Toronto. Now, if you want to look to negative, the Yankees had 3 hits in this game. 2 of them were off the bat of Cody Bellinger. Judge walked a million times. That's cool. They don't pay you for walks. They pay you for bombs and hits. You can do it. That sets up now a huge series against Detroit. Off day today, which is nice. I like having off days. It'll be Casey Mize against Will Warren, Jack Flaherty against Rodon, and then TBD against Cam Schlittler. Now, word on the street is we will not be seeing Tariq Skubal in the series. They want him to have the extra day and start game 1 in Miami. That's where they head after New York. So, word on the street, no Tariq Skubal. Minimum 2 of 3. Gleyber Torres will make his return, Tommy Kahnle as well. And that's that. Yankees take 2 of 3 from a good Toronto team and are 2 games back in this division and can win this division. And Boone said it all throughout the summer, and it annoyed us to nauseum. I'll end it on this. It is right in front of us. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Let's go Yankees.